Hello, hello, hello. All right. Welcome to this little show that I'll be trying to experiment with. I don't know what to call this. I'll think of a name when in the future if I can think of anything. But so basically, this is going to be my little book review hole. I don't know what to call it just quite yet, but I'm sure I will find out what the name is by the end of this video. So, what the majority of this channel is going to be talking about is the written word, book reviews, and somewhat of movie reviews. Just come back for a movie, play it. Maybe some game reviews because I am a hashtag gamer. I'm incredibly alone. Anyway, I think this is going to be a wonderful experiment because I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on the written word and what can be said and what can be done in it. And me personally, I don't think there is any limitation that a book can be placed on. And with that, I hope that while you listen to me ramble, that I am able to, you know, I don't know, entertain. I'm not really trying to sway opinions. I'm not really trying to talk about any political statements. If political statements do ever arrive on this channel, I say that, hey, bring them on. Other than that, this channel is not meant to be a beacon of anything like, oh, I'm gonna fucking change your mind. Excuse my language. This is a R-rated show, I say. Oh, I'm gonna change your fucking mind, boy. It's mostly just gonna be about the romance and love of the written word and the books, anything, that has to do with writing. Because writing in general is one of the mediums that I think has prevailed over time. And genuinely, I think it's something that, like, is just beautiful. I love it. You love it. Like, I can guarantee almost every single person in the world has read a book. I can't guarantee that because I'm pretty sure someone in the world is gonna tell me, "Ah, you're fucking wrong, boy. You're an idiot." And it's just like, ah, jeez, I kind of am a little bit of an idiot. I was born an idiot. Anyway, mostly what this channel is gonna be about is just talking about it. And one of the things I wanted to talk about on this first ever channel is a little book that actually is quite weird to me. It's called A Original Sin by Beth Kander. Sorry if I mispronounced that last name. Most likely I did, even though it's one of the easiest things I've ever read of a name. Original Sin. It is about, let me just read the description on the back. 50 years after the singularity, this is the description, the world is divided into two populations, locked in a Cold War, synthetic citizens, or SINs, human computer hybrids with extraordinary enhancements and potentially infinite lifespans, and originals, the individuals who did not merge their bodies with the machines. You could just say humans, but then again, they're also synthetic humans, but then, like, just call them humans. Anyway, but the decade-long battles between original and sin is almost at an end because the originals are on the verge of extinction. One of the only young originals left in the world, Air, knows he might someday be the very last of his kind. But when he meets a beautiful, powerful sin girl called Ever, he questions everything he's ever been told about his lifelong enemies. Original Sin is a rich, dangerous world of family secrets, free will, forbidden love, and all the unexpected peril that arises when aggressive technology meets stubborn humanity. Now, it's an enjoyable write. It's an enjoyable book, and personally, I feel that whenever I encountered a new, mostly I stay in my lane of genres of horror, fantasy, and romance, romance, fantasy, somewhere of the mix up between those guys. But every once in a while, I do enjoy science fiction a lot because it's one of my favorites. And this is one of the young adult science fiction categories, so it's not a giant crazy leap in like what I like. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of like young adult fictions. I.e., mainly the Hunger Games ones. I in high school when I was in class, I found the first book of the Hunger Games called Hunger Games, and I stole it and I read it, and I didn't steal it. I just found it on a desk, and I just like, I'll just read this and I'll just keep going. Like, I'll just keep reading. and doing what I can because like it is an enjoyable book for me. Oh my goodness! And ever since I just read the rest of the series, which I'll also give my thoughts on. Sorry, I'm burping a lot here. I don't have a drink. Um, give my thoughts on that series as well. But right now we are on Original Sin. Now, Original Sin is a fun book. It is a nice read. It's written in the third person, I believe. It's written in the third person, and there is a cast of main characters that I, sometimes wish they would just like let you have a list of names of the characters in the books. Some books used to do that. Now they don't. I think it's too much for the author to do it anyways. Although I don't think so. But anyways, so the cast of main characters. The main male character's name is Ere. E-R-E. He is the youngest human alive left. He's just a regular human. He doesn't have any robotic enhancements. He can't live 1,000 lives. And then his counterpart, main female character ever, is one of the synthetic humans, the Sin, and they are destined to, in the author's God's plan, they are both destined to love each other. Yeah, that is the plain old trope, old path of any romance novel you can ever write, and it's just the way to go. It's just what you do. You have a boy and a girl, you just fucking do it in a young adult romance novel. There's no like it's not a bad trope. It's just an overused trope, and there's a lot of stuff that you could do with that you can possibly make it more interesting, because what this boils down to is just another love story, and it would have been interesting to see that they maybe they could have started hating each other, but that's not the point. So the story goes is that Air is kind of like the less talented of the entire group of tribe of other humans that he is a part of, and because of that, his other human friend, Cal, who is just a bit older, maybe about 18. Air is 17, Cal is 18, and like he is the bigger, buffer, more strong, like man who is like he's is what you would expect to be the main character of any young adult fantasy, because he is just like he has every like trait that like a strong leader would have, um, of any main character. Uh, Air himself isn't talented in any regard of survival or anything. Just a note: all the humans are living in these swamp areas, and they're trying to survive, and the water is contaminated with like particles that only synthetics are able to live off on, and so they poison their water holes because they want to kill off all the humans. The synthetics want to kill off all the humans. Um, as I continued reading, it the the story continuously makes Air, the main character, kind of like a screw up, mess up. He's not incompetent, but he's not really capable of a lot of things. So you can relate if you are also not capable of a lot of things. For like the author makes him stumble a lot, makes him step over stuff. And I think that does add to his character, saying that he isn't this perfect like main character, but he kind of does it often, and he's looked down on a lot in the story. So it feels more like a pity party of like that everyone like kind of is like, oh geez, it's Air. Air, you poor silly boy, you can't really do all that much, you silly man. And then it just kind of continues on at least 2/3 of the book, of how other people treat Air. Like he is kind of like he's the handicap of the entire tribe, and they're all like, you're gonna be the leader, but you're gonna suck at it. Yeah, we know. I mean, they don't state that, but it just you kind of get that feeling as you read on that Air isn't the best person in the world, and whatever leadership he has is just it's not he can't. Um, then there's Ever. Ever starts off as unlikable, immediately because she's vain. She's very vain. She likes to compliment herself quite a lot. And as you continue reading on, her character does get better throughout the story, and it gets to a point where it's just like, okay, yeah, all right, she's definitely better than how she starts, because the way she starts is that it just goes like she calls fat people the worst. I think she goes. It's been a while since I last read this book, but it's so fresh in my mind still because Ever just straight up fat shames anybody who's fat, and it's kind of funny because she is downright like very demanding and very much a character that isn't really relatable because she's just like, give me what I want to live my life, but also you're very boring, how dare you be this boring type of stuff. Her father is the main antagonist of the story, which I think the father's name is if I can even Felix. His name is Felix. I remember that. Felix is the main the antagonist. He's the one that helps creates the synthetic movement, and basically he allows people to transform into these synthetic people. But the problem with that is that you have to pay a lot of money to do it, and obviously there is already like a line of what you can and cannot do. So if you're middle class or bottom class, you're not going to become this high-end human. And it just becomes like shit, okay, there's the political line I was waiting for there. It's not a bad book by any means, but it's very bland because while I was reading, there was nothing really that was interesting about it. The way Air and Ever meet is Air's trying to find water for his tribe, and Ever escapes from her family to just have some fun that night, and they meet each other and bump into each other, and basically Air and Ever immediate fuckingly they make out. They start kissing. No, it starts off like, oh, whoa, what are you? Are you a sin? Are you an original? Just call each other like you're a synthetic person. Yeah, that's right. But are you a human? Are you a regular human? It's not that hard. Why the slang? Why the forced slang? I never understood that of any young adult book. Why forced slang? Just call them humans. It's not that hard. Anyway. So they meet each other, they start talking, then immediately they just fucking make out. They make out, and the rest of the book is just them trying to meet up with each other and again, like, just make out and borderline almost have sex. But Air's just like, I'm too pure for that. I can't fucking dare look at this girl who is equally as attractive to me as I am to her, naked. Like there's a point where it's just like, it's okay. You're able to look like, okay. Little note, I am 22 years old. So it is a little bit of a weird thing for for me to read as a 16-year-old perspective. I used to, but not anymore. When I was 16 years old, if a girl liked me as much as I liked her, and I had the opportunity, the chance that we were like both into it, like if I could sneak a peek and I was allowed to, like, I'd do it because the fuck, why not? You're allowed to. You're both equally, like, she wants you to kind of look. She wears this type of like material that says, yeah, you can look, it's okay, and then it goes to Trophy's like, I don't want to look, I gotta be fucking honorable, but your ass would look because she is your boo and you are her boo. Yeah. So it becomes something of akin to that. And that's basically the middle of the book. There are some interesting tidbits of the origins of how Felix is raised. There's an interesting bit where Felix has a really good connection with his grandmother, and they start talking to each other a lot, and they form a bond with each other. But the tragedy of that is that the grandmother is consumed by Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's, and is put into a home. And he occasionally visits her, but there becomes a point where he visits her one more time, and he's like, "Ah, look at me, it's me, Felix, little 10-year-old Felix. It's like, look at me." And she looks at her. The grandma looks at him, and it's just like, "Felix, is that you?" And then Felix smiles, and then the grandma just starts fucking screaming, and I thought that was like fucking freaky. I thought that was good. That was a time where that was the first time where a book made me feel like, whoa, I got chills from that. That was fucking tragic right there. That's awesome, and it gives depth to the main antagonist, Felix, because Felix is a super smart, super sassy, super like straight to the point character where anything that really goes off plan, he hates to the core because he wants to stick to the plan. And that's nice and that's cool. And you get this added like layer that he's also had a tragic childhood where his grandma, his only source, got sick, went crazy, and also traumatized him as well. Now, the only problem with that is that they don't really do anything else with these characters. It's just the same stuff. Eric keeps on sneaking away, always trying to explain why he sneaks away to his cousin. And his cousin's just like, whoa, how fucking dare you fucking do that shit, you know? Like, why you gotta keep sneaking out? It's like, I'm sneaking out, I'm meeting a girl. And then Cal's like, whoa, because he's a horn dog. You know, you're the last humans on Earth, and if your buddy says, hey, I found a chick and she's into me and we're fucking making out like hell, it's like, you know, he wants to know if she has a buddy as well. And so he just kind of helps him with it. But then, you know, there comes the reveal of just like, whoa, it's actually a fucking robot he's fucking up. You know, he's fucking making out with. The robot's pegging him in the ass. How dare he? And, you know, Cal is just being, like, super dramatic about it, where it's just like, he lies to me. How dare he lie to me? And I'm just reading his, quote verbatim, as I read that part, it's like, get over it, you fucking bitch. Be happy that your friend is, like, found a girl and is liking them. Yeah! I should really give this a chance. But it's the narrative forces him to be as angry and hot headed as possible. And also, it stems from the jealousy that Air found. Like, Cal, because Cal believes that he deserves a chance because he's super strong and super buff and, like, fucking talented, that he deserves the girl more than his cousin does. And then that's also, like, as I read that, it's like, you fucking fuck boy. You gross ass motherfucking incel. You fucking stereotyping breaking incel motherfucker. Anyway, so it just becomes kind of gross on what Cal's intentions start to become, because we're getting to the end of the book, and the end of the book where Air finds out that Ever has been like taken into the facility, and like Air needs to figure out a way there. And then he meets with another tribe, and there's another girl who comes from fucking Germany or some shit. No, it comes from, I think, India. And they have a whole resistance there. And she tells Air, yeah, we're not the last humans on Earth. We got a whole city still thriving. You know, we're still fighting the good fight. And Air's just like, oh, holy shit, you right? Oh, shit, what? Do you know what happened to Ever? And she's like, oh, yeah, Ever's captured. She's going to get killed. And Air's like, I'm not going to have that. I'm going to go over there. And this is also where the stereotype of making Air look like an idiot in front of a really trained specialist. Like, I get it. You're trying to break a stereotype that, like, all main characters need to be this Mary Sue's. But, god damn, you really made Air, like, kind of a wimpy son of a bitch. Like, let him have his moments, man. I mean, he did have a moment, and it was pretty great towards the end, where he's just talking. He meets up with Felix. Felix sets up a trap, and he meets up with Felix and says, your grandfather is actually the one that did it. Yeah, his grandfather has done it. Yeah, Air's grandfather is the reason why everyone is synthetic and shit. And his mom, who is also a prominent character, who I've not mentioned because she kind of just, shows up, is there, and is just her name is used as a plot point, not really her character, because you don't really get a sense of the character. And I think that's kind of the problem of this whole book, because a lot of things happen. It happens fucking fast. Like, it just goes into overdrive at this plot. Like, there's not a lot of time to savor. There's not a lot of detours. It just gets straight to it. And you can... I believe this is the first novel by Beth, and I can understand that. But at the same time, she probably should have had someone tell her, hey, maybe you should have this happen or that happen, or maybe... Not her, someone tell her. But maybe she should have just sat down, read it over again, and maybe try to, like, think about new things. But then again, she's published a book. I haven't. So she has more right and domain over that situation. I just feel, in my honest opinion, that this book kind of trails too hard on the straight-laced path and becomes just a regular old story of kind of an okay Romeo-Juliet thing going on. Because it is down to the fucking core of Romeo and Juliet, but with robots. So basically what happened, back to the story, basically what happens with Felix and Air is that Felix tells Air that his grandpa created the synthetic program and was the first synthetic person, or is the brain of the synthetic program. All synthetics have this program in their head called, I believe, karma. And karma allows them to enter into a cloud-like system where they can store memories, where they can access other people's memories, where they can bring up files and all that, and where they can, like, record things or pause things, or even fucking go to sleep in there and still be awake. It's quite a unique system, and I do like it, but it's just not really utilized as much. It's used at some points, but not really to its fullest extent. And I think if she could have, if Candor could have used something that really utilized that aspect, instead of just going like, yeah, your grandfather's the brain. It's like, oh shit, he's the brain. You know, it would be really cool to see more stuff about that brain than just, simple things. And so Air tells Felix, like, let me just talk to this person, and then set me free and stuff. That's all I want. And Felix is so arrogant and so vain and so like into his own plan. He just like lets it happen. He just lets Air walk free. He lets Air talk to Ever, and they both, he just lets him walk free. What happens between Air and Ever is that, so Air tells Ever that, listen, I love you, everything's gonna go wrong. All of it, and I just hope everything's gonna be okay. I guess, I can't remember. But what I do remember is that for Air to survive the next encounter, Ever has to delete all memories of him. And so, it was a heartbreaking scene. It was a heartbreaking scene to read. Because you get this very painful dialogue of, like, Air holding Ever's hand while she does delete him away from her memories, and that just all goes away. And, it's just a sad thing, and I did appreciate that. It was like, shit, there's the death part of Romeo and Juliet right there. It's not as hardcore, but it's there. And the book ends with Air traveling with one of the specialists back to India, I believe, so that they could figure out a way to free Ever completely. And you think that'd be the end of the book, but no, you're fucking wrong. You are absolutely, positively fucking wrong, because there's one more chapter of Ever. And what happens is Cal followed Air into the city, and after all the whole shenanigans, fucking Cal somehow, in some way, figures out where Ever lives. Both Air and the specialist had to go through a fucking shenanigan to find out where Ever lived, and Cal just finds it like nothing. He just finds her fucking room, climbs her window, and then enters inside. And And because Ever forgot who Air was, she now meets the fuckboy Cal, incel fuckboy Cal, and goes like, well, hello there, And she's all flirty, she's all sexy, so she's about to go to town on this dude and shit. And then Cal is just ready to take it. He's just ready to take that opportunity. And the book ends with a fuck, where's the chapter? Where the fuck is the chapter? Okay. The book ends with these words. Cow, she says, tasting the name, liking it. She shrugs her shoulders, encouraging her robe to slip just a little, exposing some neck. She likes the dangerous feeling of having this stranger in her room. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Cal lets out a shaky breath and goes to Ever. And that's how the book ends. And when I read that, I thought, God, that's kind of gross. That's kind of a gross thing to read. Because you go through this whole heartbreaking adventure between Ever and Air. And, like, it hurts to see that ending of, like, Ever deleting the memories. And then the book ends with Cal ready to fuck the shit out of Ever. Because, she erased her memories. And it's just kind of funny because, like, oh, God, that's kind of fucking nasty. That's kind of gross. I don't really want to... And that's the end of the book. Now, the problems that I did have with this book is that, like I said, the pacing kind of just keeps going on a straight path. There's no real breaks. There's no real alternatives. There's no little side stories or not little side stories, but little things to make the world more fleshed out. It's really just about these couple of characters, these handful of characters, and what they're all going through. It doesn't really flesh out the city. You don't really get to see the streets. You do get the scenery, but in my opinion, Candor doesn't really do a good job in describing the layout of everything. And you kind of get lost on what the descriptions are supposed to be on. So this futuristic city where I basically had to fucking make it up on my own. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But a little help would be appreciative of what this city is supposed to be. I went for the whole futuristic look in my head. And that's not a bad way to go about it. But whenever she tried to describe anything that had to do with the sins, I got lost because I didn't really get the scenery. But that's just me. I'm probably not big-brained enough to really know about it. But besides that, the book is fine. The book is okay. It is not the best thing I have ever read in my fucking life. By far, it is the most... It's a safe book. I don't know what else to call it. It's just a safe fucking story. And that's kind of all you really need. Just getting up from my chair and then coming back down again because I want to talk to you face to face. Would I recommend this book? I mean, if you're into this type of, like, young adult romance, Romeo and Juliet kind of, like, watered down Romeo and Juliet type of story, then go for it, It's maybe right up your alley. Maybe this book will teach you about everything, because I found it pretty fun to read. A little bit weird at times, because the characters were... Oh my god, Air. I'm sorry. I swear to God, Air was just kind of just whiny a little bit. A little bit whiny, a little bit too much whiny. But so far, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the best thing in the world. It's just okay. It's just an okay book with an okay storyline with a kind of bad ending. That little bit towards 10% of the ending is kind of bad. Where you just kind of feel ugh about it. But so far, would I pick up the next book? Maybe not. Maybe not. It kind of depends whether I want to or not, because I just don't really see myself continuing on. But if this book is up your alley, then you should go for it, because it probably is. But that is basically all I have to say about it. if I do pick up the next book, I will definitely read that, and it definitely will update any of you guys on that as well. But all in all, that is my thing. And so, with that, with the first episode, I believe this has went well. I will upload these unedited, mainly because I do not have the tools to edit these. And mainly, I don't have the time. But these are just my unfiltered thoughts, and I do hope you enjoy them. If you disagreed or agreed or just want to argue with me, go ahead. Leave a comment down below. Fucking talk with me about it. I'm okay with that. If you disagree with me on my opinions on these books, go ahead. Tell me about it. It's alright. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. But besides that, I hope everyone has a lovely day, and I hope you have a lovely day. Ciao.